From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. As the year draws to a close, it is worth revisiting the key government initiatives aimed at tackling hunger and strengthening social welfare. Acting on the directive of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, continues to scale up its anti-hunger campaign through Walang Gutom 2027. Launched in 2023 under Executive Order Number 44, the program targets a reduction in food insecurity among 750,000 households by 2027. Early results show progress. Hunger incidence among beneficiary families has declined from 48.7% to 41.5% as of March 2025. Complementing the food stamp program, the DSWD has opened the Walang Gutom Kitchen along FB Harrison in Pasay City, a food bank and soup kitchen repurposed from a former Pogo site. Supported by donations from fast food chains, hotel groups, and private partners, it provides free breakfast and lunch to roughly 700 individuals daily and engages volunteers from schools, NGOs, and private companies. The facility also houses a pag-abot processing center for individuals experiencing street homelessness. Services include intake interviews, biometrics and ID processing, and case management. Since 2023, the DSWD has identified nearly 15,000 individuals in Metro Manila and has helped about half return to their home provinces, along with providing livelihood assistance. Under the administration's Bagong Pilipinas governance framework, the commitment to end hunger remains a core priority. Building on the gains of Walang Gutom 2027, the government aims to sustain momentum and uphold dignity, resilience, and opportunity for every Filipino.
Nagsimula ito, meron pa tayong counting notebook eh. May notebook tayo na gano'n. Ngayon, high-tech na po tayo ngayon. Kaya meron na lang kayong card at susunod ay yung tinignan namin na sistema na imbis na kailangan pa magrehistro, imbis na maglagay doon sa parang booklet, ay dyan na lang po sa computer, kayang-kaya po. Ay tuturuan po kayo namin kung paano gawin. Napakasimple lang po. Noong Oktubre, nung nakaraang na taon, ay 48.7% po ang sinasabing hunger rate na ginugutom pa. Dahil sa programang ito, yung numerong yan ay bumaba na po at naging 41.5% itong Marso ng 2025. Dahil dito sa programang ito, bumaba na po ang hunger rate, ang mga gutom sa household beneficiary. Lahat po sa beneficiaryo natin, bumaba na po ang gutom.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, on Monday reported that around 3,000 overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, are currently facing legal cases abroad, including 24 who remain on death row. In a media briefing in Mandaluyong City, DMW Secretary Hans Leo Magpayo said the Philippine government, through the DMW and in coordination with the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, continues to extend legal assistance to affected OFWs. Kakdak noted that Saudi Arabia has the highest number of Filipinos with legal cases, reflecting its large OFW population. These cases range from labor disputes to criminal charges across various regions. He added that many of the death row cases were inherited from the DFA when certain functions were transferred to the DMW following the agency's creation in 2021. DMW Assistant Secretary for Welfare Maria Regina Gallias said most death row cases involve drug-related offenses. Aside from Malaysia, death row cases involving Filipinos are also recorded in parts of the Asia-Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa. To handle the caseload, Kakdak said, the DMW works with 25 retained foreign law firms and 10 in-house lawyers in close coordination with the DFA and Philippine embassies and consulates.
So we're handling around 3,000 action fund cases. As to whether merong sapat na mga abogado, ang naging instruction ko sa migrant workers offices is to have more than one lawyer. So for instance, in Jeddah, we have I think two in-house lawyers and one retained lawyer. So tatlo yun. And then yung retained lawyer, law firm yun. Hindi yun isang tao lang. So 2 in-house lawyers and 1 retained law firm with lawyers. And then yun nga, ang trend dapat namin is we should have more than 1 lawyer per location. Why? Una, sa volume of cases potentially, and number 2, so we could compare. We could assess kung sino magaling, sino ang pwedeng talagang kukunin talaga natin ng ganap, or do we need to hire some more kung kulang pa sila. So these are the instructions. So I guess the answer to the question is it will always be the case that we will look out for more lawyers who will help our OFWs. Right now, how many lawyers do we have? 25 law firms.
Retainers po.
Retainer,
Retainers
25
and
law
above.
firms. And then how many
Mga 10 po.
in-house?
10
10. So around
in-house.
35. So it's safe to say na not necessarily to double that amount, but at least to increase cases, lawyers, especially where there are high volume cases like Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, UAE, and perhaps Hong Kong. So, yun yung mga not necessarily to double the 35, but to increase the number of lawyers where they are needed, such as those where there are high volume of cases.
Kakdak also reported that 2 death row cases in Saudi Arabia were recently commuted. According to Kakdak, the number of Filipinos on death row has significantly declined from 40 to 70 in previous years to 49 last year and now down to 24. He attributed the drop to sustained legal representation, bilateral efforts, and reforms in host countries, particularly Malaysia, which has opened avenues for commutation. Kakdak assured the public that the DMW regularly monitors the welfare of OFWs with pending cases through jail visits and constant coordination with their families.
Dateline Malacañang.
And news from the Philippine Senate. Senate President Pro Tempore Panfilo Lacson on Monday said the disclosure of documents allegedly provided by the late former Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral should be made at the proper time and through the proper channels as probes into questionable infrastructure projects continue. Lacson said he supports efforts to secure documents that may aid ongoing investigations, including those reportedly undertaken by Batangas Representative Leandro Leviste, but emphasized the need for due process and sensitivity. In a statement, Lacson said he'd rather give the late Undersecretary Cabral's family space to grieve, adding that any disclosure of files she may have shared can be handled by the appropriate authorities at the right time. Leviste earlier claimed that Cabral had given him files on alleged budget insertions in the DPWH, supposedly upon the instruction of DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon. Lacson said he is not aware of the contents of the documents reportedly obtained by Leviste, but welcomed efforts to expose corruption linked to anomalous infrastructure projects. He added that he has long directed his staff to compile and turn over all documents in his possession, whether from Cabral or other sources, to the proper investigating bodies, including the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI, the Office of the Ombudsman, and the Department of Justice or DOJ. Lacson noted that these documents, including those cited in his privileged speeches and in Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings on alleged flood control irregularities, have already been shared with authorities to support ongoing inquiries.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Ombudsman on Monday announced that it has issued a subpoena duces tecum ordering the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH to immediately turn over all computer and electronic devices previously assigned to the late former Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral. A subpoena duces tecum compels an individual or entity to appear before authorities and present documents or materials relevant to an investigation. Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano said, once surrendered, these devices will undergo forensic examination by a law enforcement agency to determine whether any data was altered, deleted, or tampered with after the flood control scandal was first exposed. He added that the Ombudsman expects prompt and full compliance in the interest of accountability and the integrity of the ongoing probe. In response, the DPWH said it will submit all data storage devices along with the necessary authority to release them to the Philippine National Police Anti-Cybercrime Group or PNP-ACG for forensic analysis. The DPWH added that it remains committed to transparency and will continue cooperating with investigating bodies. Cabral was found unconscious in a ravine along Cannon Road in Tuba, Benguet shortly after midnight on Friday and was pronounced dead after her retrieval. Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla said autopsy results showed no signs of foul play in her death.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still at the Senate has extended its session calendar to give lawmakers more time to scrutinize the proposed 2026 national budget, with Senate President Vicente Soto III reaffirming the chamber's firm stance against what he called blind ratification. During Monday's session, senators approved Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri's motion to move the resumption of session from December 22nd to December 29th and the adjournment from December 23rd to December 30th. The adjustment aims to allow the completion of the Bicameral Conference Committee report and the preparation of the enrolled bill for the 2026 General Appropriations Act or GAA. Soto later stressed that the Senate would not ratify the budget without reviewing an almost enrolled or fully enrolled copy, saying he wants the final version to be very clean and free from insertions. He noted that he does not want a repeat of last year when the chamber ratified the budget based only on a summary. Finance Committee Chair Sherwin Gatchalian said the extension provides time for printing, reconciling, and proofreading the draft enrolled bill. The document will be distributed to senators and bicameral conferees ahead of the planned ratification on December 29th. Soto reiterated that under the current Senate leadership, no budget will be rushed through without full visibility of its contents. Zubiri added that the calendar adjustment ensures senators have enough time to study the enrolled copy and verify that it accurately reflects the bicameral committee's decisions. He noted that the House of Representatives made a similar extension. Soto also dismissed concerns about potential delays in the budget signing, saying a brief reenactment of the previous year's budget would not be an issue if the review extends into early January. The Senate is expected to ratify the proposed 2026 national budget on December 29th once the enrolled bill is finalized and circulated to all members.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the House of Representatives on Monday adopted a resolution conveying its profound condolences to the family of the late Representative Romeo Acop, honoring the veteran lawmaker's decades of service following his passing on December 20th at the age of 78. House Resolution Number 601, introduced by Speaker Faustino D. III, Majority Leader Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, and Minority Leader Marcelino Libanan, pays tribute to Acop's long career in government and his contributions to public order, good governance, and the rule of law. Born on March 11, 1948 in Sudipen, La Union, Acop was remembered as a devoted husband to the late Dr. Resurrección Sion Marrero Acop, herself a former representative of Antipolo City's 2nd District, and as a father to their children Philip, Rina, and Carla. A member of the Philippine Military Academy, or PMA class of 1970, Acop built a distinguished career as both a police officer and lawyer. He completed his military training from 1970 to 1991 and later earned his law degree cum laude from Jose Rizal University in 1986. In the Philippine National Police, or PNP, he served as Chief Superintendent of the Criminal Investigation Service, now the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, from 1994 to 1995, and held key posts, including in the Directorate for Comptrollership. His service earned his numerous commendations and medals. Acop represented Antipolo City's 2nd District in the 15th, 16th, and 17th Congresses from 2010 to 2019 and returned to the House in the 19th and 20th Congresses from 2022 until his death. He held several key roles, including Senior Vice Chairperson of the House Quad Committee, Vice Chairperson of the Committees on Good Government and Public Accountability, Public Order and Safety and Transportation, and membership in the Committees on Justice, Veterans Affairs and Welfare, and the Commission on Appointments. H.R. 601 highlights his work in the Quad Committee, where he helped lead inquiries into issues such as the war on drugs, Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs, and human rights violations. Colleagues also cited his legislative contributions, including authorship and co-authorship of landmark laws such as Republic Act or RA 11200 on PNP rank classification, RA 11961, which strengthens cultural heritage protection, and RA 10913, the Anti-Distracted Driving Act. Acop was likewise recognized for his conduct during legislative inquiries, marked, the resolution said, by discipline, fairness, and respect for due process, with questioning always within the bounds of decency and institutional respect. The resolution describes him as a model public servant and a steadfast advocate of public order, integrity, and accountability, leaving behind a lasting legacy of true public service to the institutions he served and the communities he represented. It stated that the passing of Honorable Romeo M. Acop is a great loss not only to his family, friends, colleagues, and the communities he served, but also to the Filipino people and to the country that benefited from his faithful and dedicated service.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.